Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Kaiser Report. This is John, and I'm here to talk to you today about a few things that happened over the weekend. One main issue this weekend has been weather. There's been quite a few storms through the Texas Panhandle, and driving up through, they say today, into Illinois and Chicago and Indiana and around that area. We're going to get some heavy snowstorms with blowing winds and things of that nature that will cause some travel havoc. But that's it. And the other news this weekend was the fact that, we took out in Baghdad a top Iranian combatant that has been causing some problems for us in Iraq, and of course with the Houthis. And meantime, while that was being done, we found out yesterday that Lloyd Austin, who's in charge of our military right now and making decisions of that kind of a nature, has been AWOL in a hospital bed in ICU without the knowledge of Blinken, but even worse, without the knowledge of Joe Biden. So who was making those decisions to take out a combatant in a war zone without his knowledge? Who gave that order? You would think that someone that holds a rank of that nature would advise the commander-in-chief if he was not able to do his duties, which he resumed, I'm told, yesterday, Sunday, has taken back charge from his underlings. But we don't know what's going on inside this government, and that's kind of frightening in its own way. But things are happening all over. I mean, just take a look at what's going on at the border. Nothing's getting better there. It's getting worse, if anything. And now politicians are telling us yesterday on Sunday morning go-arounds that there'll probably be, when it's all said and done, over 11 million border crashers in this country, some with bad intent, and the rest of them straining all of the social and welfare systems that these states have in place. You want to think at some point someone would say, we can't afford this any longer. What has happened to our country? If we don't get together, as we the people need to in this next election cycle, and by the way, no one man or woman taking hold of a presidency is going to fix this like magic. They don't have a wand to wave to make that happen. It'll be the start of a process that unfortunately is going to take a few years to bring it back where it's righting the ship again. We have to be very careful with our election processes. They're getting ready, I'm told today, or I saw it on one of these fake news channels, that they're getting ready to send everyone in this country, and that includes probably the illegals, that they know where they are, paper ballots If we let this happen, we're going to have a repeat of the last election, and it's not going to be good when we have people in the streets protesting against this. Paper ballots are wrong. Absentee ballots are fine. We've had that for years. And if you request one because you're overseas on business or in the military, that's perfectly fine. But to mail out ballots to every person in these United States, and God knows where they're going to end up in Canada, Mexico, they can manipulate paper ballots. Mail-in ballots. We need to go to a paper ballot. We need to go to a paper ballot you pick up on the holiday called Election Day, and it should be counted on that very day. And then you'll have an election process that actually is the way it was set up to be. We can no longer let these people willy-nilly send out paper ballots to people that are even in their graves, and someone fills it out and sends it in. There's no check and balance in this. The voting machines we know have been hacked in the past, and they'll do it again. It gets harder every day to listen to the nonsense that they come out of the White House to tell you when there's things going on like Lloyd Austin being in the hospital and no one in the cabinet knew about it. They asked Blinken if he knew, and he goes, "No, this is news to me." How in the world can that happen? It happens because we have the wrong people in the jobs where we need the right people. So we need to elect someone that has common sense enough to put people in these positions that are there for more reason than just to build up their bank accounts, which is what's happening right now. Right up to the top. We've been asleep for a while, and the subliminal messages that are being pushed on by Hollywood, TV shows, and all this other nonsense that will have you believe all the wrong things has taken its toll, and these are the consequences of letting all that happen for so many years. Just look at what they're putting out for teenagers today to go to the movies to watch. Deviant behavior is okay. Smoking pot while you're on the school premises. These movies that, I kind of went through the channels the other day and watched some of this stuff, and it's no wonder these children are confused. They see this stuff in the movie theater and on TV, and they believe that this is okay. Bad behavior is not okay. And unless and until they take away the phones and the iPads from kids that are in the schools, on the school grounds, it's not going to get any better. Bullying, they're worried about bullying. Well, guess what they're using to bully each other with? Social media on a damn phone that's in their hands while the teacher is trying to teach them math, science, chemistry. How much can you learn if you're texting your BFF while they're trying to explain to you how real life works. We've put our children into a fantasy world that they now believe is how the real world works. And unfortunately, you look at our vice president that cackles about everything. There's no examples being set by anyone. The teachers' unions have done more harm than good. We used to have teachers that actually cared and would help a student that was struggling. And what's their answer now? Pass them anyway. Send them on to college to be indoctrinated in all kinds of weird Marxism and socialism. I hate to have to come out and say these things, but it's every weekend that you turn on the TV, there's a new, I don't know the answer other than getting people in that actually give a damn. Yeah, their big news over the weekend was because Donald Trump, of course, the hate for him just continues. My big worry is that if the man gets reelected, which is, from what they're saying, a possibility, we're going to go through 4 more years of them trying to impeach him. How much will we get done in that time frame? The big thing now is they're on about the fact that he said that they needed to get over the Iowa school shooting. These school shootings are a direct result of mental illness that's been unchecked. Instead of having policemen and, I don't know, at schools, how about a psychologist to root out what's going on? When we all went to school, the teachers knew if there was something off. I was very fortunate I didn't have home life problems, but I knew children that did, and we knew that the teachers were on top of it. That's a bygone thing anymore. God bless all the victims of these morons that decide to pick up their father's guns or their own and go do these kind of damages. The big news, I guess, was the Golden Globes this week. I think they made some good choices, but of course, you have actors and actresses that have to feel that they need to be involved in politics and say things that they shouldn't have any business saying. They're entertainers who play other people. Whether or not they're happy with their own self is a question for the ages. But for Rob Reiner and people like him to come out and say the stupidest things that they do and influence weak minds, or so they think, because, if you're in Hollywood and an actor, you're very smart. They have to carry the line that their producers tell them to carry, or they don't get work. And God forbid they say what's really on their mind, they'll end up out of work. It's a shame. I guess the big news this morning was Taylor Swift is clearly not amused by a joke that was made about her during the Golden Globes. Ask me if I care. I don't. Trump supporters are all worked up about this Jeffrey Epstein list. And of course, you know, the left side wants to say that he was involved with Epstein. Well, we know now that that's been debunked. But there are an awful lot of people of high-ranking individuals that are on that list, that have been to the island on many occasions in some cases. Whether or not they took part in illegal activities while there, I don't know. No one knows. Well, Ghislaine Maxwell knows, but she's not saying. I guess that she's waiting to get her own deal. Do I think that Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide? My personal opinion is no way, no how did that happen. Just look at the evidence and the fact that no one was there, no one was watching. That's a setup. How much the Clintons have to do with it, we don't know. They have evidence. They've looked at it, but the FBI has sat on it, not willing to make any move forward with it. There's all kinds of evidence out there. People know what went on. The whistleblowers know what went on with the Hunter Biden laptop. The FBI set on that. So we have three-letter agencies that do nothing now but protect a bad administration from embarrassment for the embarrassing things that they did, but will never be brought up front to answer for because they're the elite society. And they're in the club, and we're not. Oh, well. Russian troops are retreating after losing tanks and vehicles in a failed assault in the Ukraine, so we're supposed to believe. Let's take a look at China these days. 92% of our life-saving drugs, such as everything including antibiotics and antivirals, are being produced now in China, which China has full control over. And they're preparing to have a war with China, from what we're told. One of the M-Series tanks, all the parts for it are made in China. You want to go to war with these people? Shut off all of your life-saving drugs and have no tank parts for an M-Series tank that you rely on a daily basis. For what? Bring back the damn pharmaceutical manufacturing back into this country, and let's be self-sufficient for our own health care. We don't have health care here. We have sick care. And it's dictated by the pharmaceutical companies because their lobbyists are the best in the world at getting politicians to do their bidding and then give them all jobs when they leave their civil service jobs or the FDA or these three-letter agencies. They go to work for these corporations when they leave their posts. How stupid do you have to be to take your drug manufacturing and put it in a potential enemy's homeland and be dependent on them? And what drugs aren't being produced there that we no longer produce are coming out of India. Wake up to these facts when you walk into that voting booth. Know these things. We have one chance to save this country, and this is it. 2024 will be a turning point for this country and its survival. We cannot tolerate 11 to 12 million illegal aliens who crash the border to get on our systems and do harm from within in some cases. We know that we've stopped some terrorist watch list individuals that have entered, but we also know a lot more slipped by. You have Chinese nationals coming in. Everyone else gets 40 questions by the Border Patrol and Customs. But Joe Biden has issued a rule now that Chinese nationals only have to answer 10. Do you see beyond the curtain? These things need to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed by someone who cares enough to take over the helm, clean out the swamp, and put people in to do a job and get the manufacturing back here, get our own oil pumping again, and stop depending on people who hate our country to give us and service the goods we need to survive. How intelligent do you have to be to understand that? It's a situation that needs looking into. There are a couple of candidates out there on both sides of the aisle that know these things and know how to fix it. Whether or not they make it through this another rigged election will be a miracle. But God's been known to provide miracles for us in the past, and maybe he'll come through this time with another one. But when you talk to these politicians, you have to ask the hard fact questions and then forget the talking points, but make them give you a solution to these problems that we're facing, starting with the border. This has been done intentionally. There's a reason that someone would open a porous border wide open intentionally. What is the game plan? What is the solution to fix it? I know what I would do, but you need to ask these candidates that are running for the position what they will do. And if they give you a bunch of gobbledygook and avoid the question, don't vote for them. Nikki Haley's out doing a great job raising $40 million just in the month of December because they want to buy their way in. Well, that's not what we need right now. She is owned right now by BlackRock. And if you don't believe that, Do some research, because it's enough evidence out there to show the special interest PACs that are backing her and making her so wealthy that she feels she can walk through this election by buying it. Her town halls supposedly tomorrow night in Iowa. I can't wait to hear the gobbledygook that comes out of her, all scripted and handed to her. It's probably a really nice person. I don't know her, but I know I would never vote for her. She's not capable of taking that position. I listened to some of the town halls this past weekend on the Republican side. I guess Trump is doing one tonight or tomorrow, sponsored with Fox. And then she's doing one the next day. Vivek had, I think, 2 this weekend. He makes some sense. I never thought I would say that, because he wasn't one of my favorite picks for a candidate. But I've changed my mind a little on that. And I do like RFK Jr. He says the things that we need to hear. And Vivek is saying the things that we need to hear. Not from a talking point, pre-printed script. You need to have them come from here with the answer. How bad is it? And this is how I'm going to fix it. Solutions. Why we can't get politicians to give you a straight answer is beyond me. And if you want a real circus look at that, just go to any press conference that Jean-Pierre, or whatever her name is, comes up with. Talk about carrying a line. The lies that come out of this administration should be prosecuted. It's unbelievable. But he'll go out on a campaign trail when he decides to campaign and tell you how great Bidenomics is and how wonderful it is and how many jobs he's created. Well, people are getting laid off left and right. The jobs that have been created are government jobs. Do we need another 82,000 IRS agents? How about taking half that number and putting in Border Patrol people? Or refunding some of the police departments that these blue states decided to defund. So we have lawlessness in some of the streets in these large cities. What will it take to get someone with enough common sense to fix this? We have a comment section below, and I really wish you would all tell me what your thoughts are on these things. Give me some feedback, because they're acting like the entire population of this country is stupid, and we don't know, and they know more than we do. There's some devious things happening. And they're happening in the seat of our government. We have a constitution that is our guideline to the pursuit of happiness and to living a life worth living in a country that we love, that used to love us. But that's changed now, and we have to change it back. And who's going to do it? We are. We, the people, have to take this country back from the hands of the few that believe that they're elite and above you. Career politicians, I'll never, ever vote for another one. They raise these people to be politicians. And then you have, the political families, the Bushes, the Clintons. It's a club. And the members of that club get away with what's in my mind criminal activity. These people pouring through the border are criminals. Remember, they're not migrants. They're not asylum seekers. They broke the law. They're criminals. We need to let ICE do their job and get them back over the border and apply like everyone else that came to this country as an immigrant through Ellis Island or anywhere else, who were good people who built this country, not here to suck off the teat of this country until it's dry, which is what these people are going to do to us, and they're already doing it. Take a trip to Chicago and go to the east side of Chicago to any police station, and when you walk in, they're living on the floor in front of the policeman. And outside. They can't work because they're not allowed to have a work permit, so that forces them to do under-the-table work, which no taxes are being taken out. Nothing is coming from these immigrants. It all goes to them. Nothing comes back to our country. I'm sure you all remember how that works. We work, and out of our paycheck, taxes are taken, which gives us the ability to do the things we need to take care of people. But if you have 11 million people crash in and start taking from it, what do your people who paid those tax dollars get? This is a social studies lesson, I guess. Or do we even teach social studies in the school system anymore? Or do we just, use the Saul Alinsky method of educating our people now? Redistribution of anyone's wealth should not be done. And you can say, oh, well, all the millionaires don't pay their fair share. Well, if they all did, that would be great. But there's 40-some% of the people in this country that don't pay income tax. Now it's going to be a lot higher because there are people sucking it up with no return. But they can get driver's licenses, free phones, join gangs so they can steal from people in stores. It's not a good situation. We, the people, need to bind together and fix this so we have the ability to get this country back on the tracks. Bring it home. America first. And get our people out of the Ukraine. Stop sending them money. Israel is capable of standing on their own from here on in. They're trying to repopulate the Gaza Strip, I hear. That's good. They need to come to a peace agreement. Hamas has to be dealt with, and dealt with harshly, whether people like it or not. They caused the problem on October 7th. And it's ongoing, and it's not going to end real soon from the look of things. And we don't need to be tolerating Iran's crap supporting the Houthi rebels to be shooting at our naval ships, and that convoys of goods being shipped from that region by Maersk and all the other shipping lines that now cannot supply chain us because of it. So we have a president that refuses to ruffle any feathers in Iran, and whatever the reason for that is, I have to say that there's a monetary issue attached to it. I mean, this guy gave them back millions of dollars that they turned around and used to support the Houthis and several other terrorist groups to use against us and our allies. Wake up and understand that. This guy is compromised in some situation with not only China and the Ukraine, but now Iran. What is he in fear of that he doesn't make a move? Other than the fact that they have to tell him every day what state he's in. He's got a cabinet full of, it's a clown show. I mean, if it became any more evident to the public's eye, all they have to do is listen to one White House press conference where they tell you that your life is better than it's ever been. What? They want control over your bank accounts. They want control over every word you say. It's a matter of time before these social networks like what we're on right now are going to be clamped down upon, because somebody may utter the truth that doesn't go along with their narrative of what the world should be. This one world economy nonsense, this digital money that they want to do away with the dollar to do. These are dangerous things. The stock market is so overinflated, it's incredible. Needs watching. If you've got a huge percentage of your savings in that stock market, you probably should think about getting it out. It's not a healthy situation. And it gets unhealthier by the day. There's some things going on, that comes out of Davos that is not good for us. Maybe good for a handful of ultra-rich, selfish people. Now, even Elon Musk is a target on his back now. I read somewhere this morning where they're upset because they think he does too many drugs. What else are they going to come out to malign this individual with? Because he had the nerve to tell you the truth. They hate the fact that he took Twitter away, which was one of their weapons in cheating on an election. They still have Zuckerberg and Facebook, Meta. to carry their torch. What's in it for them? I don't know. This AI stuff, you better be damn careful because it's not a good situation. Just ask Mr. Cohen, who did his briefs to get himself out of jail there using AI, and they cited all kinds of cases that didn't exist. And your kids are using this to do their book reports, and college kids are thinking that they're going to get their papers written by AI. With how much of it is true? The world is moving a lot faster these days. And unfortunately, we're looking at a world that is being tainted by the wrong individuals. Individuals that have personal agendas. We have a military that's the weakest it has been in 80 years. Recruiting is down 43%. And you want to push a stick into a cage and cause a war? Not a good situation. But it continues. You have cults popping up, all with different ideas and ways to change history, way to change your ability to make your own decisions. And a news network full of false information. Legacy media that just says the same thing over and over again, carrying the lantern for the current administration. There are no more news reporters anymore. There are no more investigative journalists anymore. They're readers that have two teleprompters that they look at and read to you what they're told to impart to you. The days of Walter Cronkite are long gone. Or investigating journalists. There are none. And then you have the likes of Rachel Maddow that comes out and tells you that Trump is going to kill all of his opponents when he gets elected. What kind of nonsense? Where's the basis for that? It's incredible what they get away with no consequences, no apologies. When they are found out wrong, they don't come and apologize for it. They'll correct it somewhere on page 10, buried in the bottom of a column. But there are many that need to apologize for bad reporting for the last 8 years. When the news companies that provide you with what you need to know are all saying the exact same thing, scripted, you need to find another source. Because that's not the way it should be. Newspapers are going in the toilet. because they can't report on anything. People aren't advertising anymore in print because of the internet. It's plain to see. Just look at the Christmas season where the stores were down, but online purchasing was up. It's a bad economy. We're in the middle of inflation, which is made worse by the actions of our Fed. And they're bringing more and more toward it. With that, we'll have to say we need some changes. And I think it all needs to start with us, the people who walk into the voting booth, and the people who need to discuss with our senators and our congresspeople what our thoughts are. Pick up a phone, email them, but get to them and find out what the heck is going on. But with that, I'm going to trip on out of here, and we'll talk to you real soon. Bye now.